Welcome back to Tanya in 5. Today we recap letter 8 of Iggeret HaKodesh. There's an old Jewish custom mentioned in the Talmud, which is to give a little charity prior to prayer. This is a custom which Hasidim are very particular to maintain. In this letter, the Alter Rebbe explains the spiritual or Kabbalistic significance of this custom. You see, the very fact that during prayer we are capable of feeling in our hearts and experiencing in our thoughts any form of godliness is in and of itself a great kindness and charity on God's part. You see, ordinarily, the divine system is such that reward is measure for measure. In life after death, in the Garden of Eden, a Jew enjoys of the connection he created with God while living here on earth. Exactly commensurate to the connection created here on earth is the experience in heaven. But with prayer, one is capable of feeling God's true essence and transcendence, and that this experience brings light to the darkness of his physical world down here. Now this seems to be beyond the measure for measure. How is this achieved? This is where charity comes in. When I give charitably, God grants me charitably an experience of him. Further to understand this, the Alter Rebbe cites to a verse which compares charity to planting a seed. When you plant a seed in the earth, there is no comparison in size or quality between the vast tree with its many fruits and a tiny seed. The tiny seed seems to be insignificant, but when that seed is planted in the earth and rots therein, losing its identity, it invokes and awakens from within the earth the capacity to bring forth a massive tree that produces many fruit with many more seeds. The same thing is true with charity. Charity, even a little, is that seed, and it gets planted in the spiritual source of the Jewish soul, which is one with God himself at his very essence, and elicits from there a beautiful growth, and God bestows from that lofty source light and a feeling of godliness that we can experience in our prayer. This is especially true when charity is given to charities in the land of Israel, which that physical land corresponds right to the spiritual land from which this great divine revelation emerges. The takeaway from all of this is, we've already seen in previous letters that giving charity is not just about the recipient, but actually about the giver's personal spiritual growth. Here we learn two things. Number one, just like our spiritual growth with prayer must be daily, so it is with our charity. We must give daily, even a little. And number two, we see how these two things are intrinsically connected. Charity is that seed. We plant that goodliness and that charitableness within the divine spiritual source, which, number two, elicits that divine revelation back to us, which we can experience through prayer, which is the other side of this partnership between charity and prayer. Looking forward to seeing you when we conclude letter 9.